Hey everyone, just doing a quick mention before the video for our partners at the SOJOURN audio drama, who will be holding a series of free listening parties for every episode released so far on their Discord every Saturday starting this week. If you're wondering what the SOJOURN is, their YouTube channel also has a number of free samples you can try out. After a Weyland-Yutani team failed to retrieve Ellen Ripley and her subsequent death, they were forced to comb the entire facility on Fiorina 161 for any biological trace they could find. While they were successful in retrieving a number of samples, the technology of the time was not sufficient to be able to recreate Ripley and the implanted xenomorph queen gestating within her. Approximately 200 years later, long after the megacorporation had been dismantled and its assets acquired by the United Systems military, a team of scientists working aboard the clandestine medical research ship USM Auriga eventually found success. After years of work and 7 failed attempts, they managed to create a viable clone and retrieved the valuable queen. The enormous stealth-capable vessel was commissioned in 2369 and was placed under the command of General Martin Perez. The vital functions of the ship itself were all controlled by its onboard AI, the FAR THUR 2600, known as Father. From 2379 onwards, the Auriga operated in unregulated space while the Xenomorph project was undertaken. The ship had every amenity its small crew could wish for, including a chapel, and fast launch escape pods were provided for evacuations. Perez also commanded the small contingent of enlisted USM personnel who oversaw the efforts of the science team that was led by Dr. Mason Wren. Their efforts took place across a number of dedicated med-lab decks which, along with laboratories and cloning vats, contained standard medical facilities and a specialized containment facility. This was where the reborn queen was held while she matured and laid eggs. A second facility held a number of smaller containment cells for her progeny, kept separate from each other and the observation chamber for safety reasons, as well as each having emergency coolant sprays to control the violent outbursts of their occupants. This second generation of xenomorphs required implantation within living hosts, which were brought in by a crew of pirates through the Auriga's voluminous internal docking bay. This was oriented vertically and was accessed through a large door on the underside of the ship, which allowed the entire bay to be pressurized for crew transfer or ship maintenance without the use of EVA suits. While docked, ships could also be remotely accessed and activated by the ship's AI. The vessel the pirates used was a small Mantis-class resupply ship, captained by one Frank Elgin. Originally known as Almayer's Folly, the ship was renamed to Betty by Elgin after he stole it. The old Hawker system design was used by the USM for decades, doing dead drops into active combat zones as well as standard intra-atmosphere resupply runs. To enable these dangerous sorties, its exterior hull was covered in triple-layer composite armor designed to neutralize, absorb, and reflect a variety of impacts. The outermost layer dissipated radiation and smaller kinetic impacts. The middle, ceramic-based layer gave protection against larger kinetic impacts, and the innermost layer was a honeycomb thermal system surrounding the core structural elements of the vehicle. The small ship had a full suite of Colton sublight thrusters and was FTL capable. The 2 large side-mounted thruster pods housed DCAT R3500 VTOL thrusters, which could move up and down in an 80-degree arc and also rotate through 360 degrees. For atmospheric flight, the vessel had a set of stabilization fins mounted to the lower hull, with control surfaces and tip-mounted proximity sensors for landing and docking purposes. A second set of smaller stabilization fins were mounted below the tail, which itself could actuate and acted as a spoiler. Also mounted in the aft section of the ship was its cargo bay, capable of carrying up to 350 cubic meters of freight, accessible via side-mounted hatches. It was here that the living hosts bound for the Auriga were stored, unconscious in hypersleep chambers, after Elgin and his crew hijacked the ship they were traveling on. Due to the senior staff of the Auriga severely underestimating the capabilities and intelligence of the xenomorphs, the creatures managed to escape, causing a critical incident aboard the research vessel. While some USM personnel managed to safely abandon ship, many met a grisly end thanks to the rampaging aliens. A similar fate befell the crew of the Betty, who were still aboard at the time of the outbreak. To destroy the cloned xenomorphs, they set the ship on a collision course with Earth, aimed at a relatively unpopulated area of the African continent. Despite managing to reach the Betty, only 3 of its 6 crew members, along with Ripley 8, managed to escape the doomed USM ship. Thanks for watching this breakdown of the main ships from Alien Resurrection. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already if you want to support the channel. To be a more direct supporter, you can become a channel member or join our Patreon. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.